Hello, everybody. Kirbyfan here for the first time in what feels like forever, we have a Fire Emblem video today. So I've been working on the Kirby videos for a while. I have a Revenge of Dreamland one coming up that isn't really quite finished yet. It'll be finished by tomorrow, so I figured why not have a fun little tier list video for Fire Emblem today, give you guys something finally. I know it's been quite a while since I made Fire Emblem content. Sorry for the general drought, but it will be back. Don't worry. I will get back to making Fire Emblem content one of these days, but for now, we have a tier list video for my personal favorite fighters in the series, or warriors as well. The only requirement to be on this tier list is that you have to either be, at any point, a fighter or a warrior. Well, I guess let me reword that a little bit, because that's the case for, like, the first 13, or the first 12, or maybe 10, fine, we'll go that far. No reclassing, you have to start as a fighter or a warrior, so that takes care of 11 through 13, technically. I do count Rinkah. She's an Oni Savage, I do count her. So that takes care of 14. And then in 3 houses, that would count, well, we'll see as we go along. I don't have the fighters or warriors shown or anything, but when we get to 3 houses, I'll explain that. But I don't want this intro to take too long. I'm actually not going to start with Barst. I feel like that would be too easy. So we're going to start with Board and Chord instead. Now, reminder that this is just a personal enjoyment tier list. So one of them is going here, and the other is going about here. FE1 is super funny in that they both have the exact same portrait. But between Board and Chord, because they look so similar and they function the same way, I tend to wind up using one of them and not really caring about the other. Again, not counting Barst, we'll get to him, but between Board and Chord, I don't really have a preference, and this goes for every single game that they're available in. I've never played FE12, but I have played, fortunately, FE1, I played FE3 Book 1, and I played Shadow Dragon, and every time, this is typically how it turns out, I use one of Board and Chord, and the other just kind of collects dust on the bench. So that's what the deal is with Board and Chord. However, for Barst, he goes easily up here for every game he's available in. Sure, fighters can't promote, and FE1, that's not so bad, because promoted or not, your offensive, or your stat caps for, not like movement or anything, but for strength, skill, luck, stuff like that, your cap is always 20, no matter what, so Barst doesn't fall terribly behind. And yeah, he doesn't have a 3 Book 1, he's not great there, but he's fun while you have him, and for the early game, he's definitely, like, super duper good. And then Shadow Dragon, everybody knows about Shadow Dragon, how he's actually insanely good. Reclassing him is something crazy, but I always keep him as a fighter or a warrior. I really, really like that class. As you can tell by the fact that I'm making this tier list, I am a big fan of fighters, and I am really glad that we have one already that is as fun as Barst. I hate to break it to you up next. I don't ever even remember his, I think it's Johalvier, I'm pretty sure. That's what it's the Genealogy guy from Generation 2. And while I would say I enjoy using him more than Board or Chord, he's still going in here. The problem, unfortunately, is that he is an axe user in Genealogy. This is the one game where, outside of like the Brave Axe, I don't really like using axes very much, or even really using axe users at all. And if I do, it's going to be like, you know, lax because he's on a mount. What makes me enjoy using him more than the horse version of him that you can also get in this chapter, it's very easy to clear the arena with him, I've noticed. Typically, if I recruit him, he can get through the arena pretty scot-free, and that is good for giving money to whoever I marry him off to. But that's really it, other than standard, you know, I like the fighter class. They got the funny walking animation still. They haven't gotten rid of that yet, which is hilarious. But Genealogy is not where the fighters really thrive. that game probably has my overall favorite lineup of fighters would be Thracia. And I haven't finished Thracia yet. I think I'm about halfway done. But nothing is going to change my thought that Orson is easily one of my favorite fighters in all of Fire Emblem. He basically crits all the time. If you attack on player phase, there's a mechanic in Thracia called follow-up critical modifier. I'm pretty sure that's what they go with. On like your follow-up attack, your critical hit chance is multiplied by a certain number. And I believe Orson's is either 4 or 5. It's crazy high. And his perf, his personal weapon, the Booj, or Poogie, whatever you want to call it, the crit chance on that is insanely high. So on top of that, you have a 4 times chance to crit. Even if you're using like an Iron Axe or whatever, his crit chance is still really good. And then on enemy phase, he has Wrath, which literally 100% of the time will make him crit. So he is just a critical hitting machine, and he uses axes, which are super strong, and he's just great 2-range options because of his personal weapon, and Orson is a treat. I am a fan of Orson. Unfortunately, you also get Halvan, who I do really like Halvan. In fact, I'm actually below Barst, but I'm still gonna put him up there. He doesn't have a personal weapon or anything crazy like Orson has. You can give him scrolls, you can give him skills, whatever, but he's still not ever going to reach Orson's craziness. Partially because he doesn't always have it by default. You have to like feed this stuff to him, but also because it's like no personal weapon, no Booj or Poogie, so he's not gonna get all that stuff. It's very sad, but he is still very fun. He's lagging behind a little bit in my current playthrough that I'm actually streaming. If you want to follow my Twitch channel, link to that is in the description. One of the games that I'm streaming at the moment is Thracia. But it is a first blind playthrough, so I am missing out on a lot of things, such as Dagdar. I'm going to put him up here still. Now, I would maybe even like him more than Orson if I actually got him back. I unfortunately relied a little bit too much on Finn not capturing. He wound up killing the boss. So I did not get Dagdar back, but the short time that I had him and all of the stuff that I would really like to have Dagdar for, but he's gone. Yeah, no, I would definitely like him a lot. He's probably going to be like the bottom of top, only because I only had him for the early game. And then when I go back and play Thracia and actually get everybody, I can give you a more updated version of what I actually think about him. But even just those first chapters that I had him, I basically used him for everything. I really liked Dagdar. However, was he Marty? No. Nobody in my heart is like Marty. Talk about, like, the worst kind of unit, but he has such a specific niche that you make excuses to keep using him because of that niche, and then you feed him all your stat boosters, and then he promotes and gets 6 speed when becoming a warrior. When I was looking initially, I was really worried that Dagdar and Marty would not be able to make this last, but luckily, they promote into warriors. Well, Marty promotes into a warrior. Dagdar is already a warrior. So, they're eligible, and gosh, do I love both of them. Definitely Marty the most. Marty I haven't had for a very long time, but he's already become one of my favorite Fire Emblem units. He is an absolute delight. I love Marty. Now, unfortunately, up next we have Wade, who I'm putting in the low tier. I don't like Wade. He literally has one fun thing, in my opinion at least, one fun thing going for him, and that his strength, because you get another fighter at the same time, and it's a lot. And you also get Deke, who promotes and uses axes, but he's not going to promote for a bit. Wade, out of your axe users for a while, will, I guess Marcus, but Marcus is going to be wanting to use, like, hand axes, jabs, silver lance, armor slayer, stuff like that. Wade, with his ever-increasing strength, is going to want to keep on, using, like, the hammer and the halberd, effective weaponry. and he's probably not going to hit because not only do those weapons have awful accuracy, but he's not going to be getting a lot of skill on his level ups, so he'll be doing like 40 damage with 30 hit, and that gambling, I guess you could call it. I live for that. It's one of the things I love about fighters so much. Their bulk is bad, but their strength is so good, so it's like their potential is amazing. And it's just really fun. And that's what Wade has going for him. As soon as I'm going to go a little bit out of order just because I'm saying this guy's name. But as soon as you get Bartre, I feel like Wade's bit of fun falls out of favor. And to be fair, you might not ever get Bartre. You might go A route. I tend to go B route just because I find using Bartre so much fun. He joins with crazy high strength on hard mode. I want to say it's somewhere between like 20 and 25. It's crazy. And his skill is like passable. And between his massive HP, high strength, and good enough skill, I feel like those are the only stats that he really needs. I guess he can have bows for like effective weaponry and stuff, but just as far as like the raw funness of using him, definitely comes down to a massive strength stat, just being able to kill so many things and then getting like a halberd or a hammer, or I guess even like a killer bow or something, and just going to town. Absolutely. Bartre is a super fun unit. Now, this is actually a little bit tricky because I like Lot. I really do. I actually think people kind of underrate him. And I use him more than I use Bartre. But when I get Bartre, he's more consistent, and I have more fun with him at that point. So I think I'm going to actually put Lot here and move Bartre above Dagdar. I know I'm like probably the only person that thinks this, but I really like Bartre. I think he's super fun. Now, again, in terms of viability, like how good they are, Barst in the high tier is probably the only one, maybe Cord down here, but I wouldn't really change, or I wouldn't really keep any of these units where they were in terms of viability. Like Dagdar would probably be like all the way over here. But it's just, this is just, you know, personal fun. And I think these units are really, really fun. Speaking of really, really fun, I don't like FE7, but I think Dorcas is a good time. Not a great time. I'm probably only going to put him like... I don't know, actually. Whoa, not there, buddy. I'll give Dorcas the benefit of the doubt. I'll put him there. So I will say this. I hate Lin mode, like, a lot. But if I play Lin mode, it's because I want a better Dorcas. And when you get Dorcas in Eliwood mode, I actually think in Eliwood mode, he's probably a little bit better because you can use him on the prologue. He gets an energy ring that you could potentially give to him. His base speed is good, and it'll help you throughout Eliwood mode stuff. Hector mode, there aren't really too many differences unless you do plan on giving him that energy ring, which I've done before. It does make Dorcas a lot of fun. But I think he's plenty fine without it. But a Lin mode Dorcas is definitely my favorite because you have a lot of chapters to train him up in Lin mode. Plus, until you promote Sane and Kent, I believe, you don't have another axe user. Well, Wallace, I guess. But that's implying you're playing Lin normal. And I don't trust people that play on Lin normal unless they have to. But yeah, no, Dorcas, super fun. Unlike Bartre, who, that's not where I wanted to put you, Bartre. I guess I would have to put Bartre above Wade, not only because weapons in Binding Blade are less accurate than they are in FE7, Blazing Blade, but also because getting Bartre to be a level 5 warrior is fun within itself. So I give that to Bartre, but like, I don't know, I never really liked Bartre. I love him in FE6, even his personality. But in FE7, he's just so obnoxious. Although, on that note, that's another thing I love about Marty. Marty's character is like the funniest thing. Every time Marty opens his mouth, I laugh. It's so funny. But that's all I'm really going to be saying for them. Geitz I've never really used this guy. I have played the Linus chapter before, and in more casual playthroughs, I have gotten to Geitz, but I've never... If I have used him, I don't really remember what he's like. So we are going to leave it at that, and we are going to go into Sacred Stones, where we start with Ross, who is super duper fun. I wouldn't quite put him among the top tiers, like my absolute favorite fighters, partially because I prefer having him go down the route of pirate. But he can become a fighter, he can become a warrior, and if he goes down that route, I still think he's really fun. Definitely wasting some of his potential, I feel like. But, you know, he's a trainee in FE8, super fun to raise up, and unlike the other two, I tend to have a lot more fun raising up Ross than I do Amelia or Ewan. Ewan comes way too late, and Amelia just has a slew of her own problems. They're still fun, and I'll meme Amelia especially, like, forever. But Ross has the best weapon type, well, at least for the way that I like to play. He has the best weapon type, the best availability, the easiest time actually getting leveled up, because the hatchet is stupidly good for getting chip damage, which gives Ross like 60 EXP or something like that, so it's crazy. And then you have like the freedom of customization, but going down the fighter warrior route, he's still really fun. I love supporting him with Garcia when they're both warriors, and just having like two warriors rush in, like dad and kid, father and son rushing in and just laying waste to everything. It's super cool. Now Garcia's a little tough. He's above Bartre, but I don't know if he's above Orson. I think he's no Marty, but I think I have to put him above Orson. Garcia is a bit nostalgic for me, because Garcia is the first fighter that really made me realize that I really loved this class. Sacred Stones was the first Fire Emblem game that I really got into, because my first one was Radiant Dawn, and I stopped that like 5 chapters in. I didn't like it at the time. And I did get Nolan, but I don't really have any attachment to him. Garcia, on the other hand, is the first fighter that I really have an attachment to, and he wound up being my best unit in that playthrough, except for like Seth, but it's always, no one's ever gonna be like Seth, right? But his 2 range, just his story, like his design, love his design, love his character. And just, you know, while Ross is chipping people with the hatchet, here's Garcia chucking hand axes, steel axes, iron. He's not chucking the steel axe, I guess, as funny as that would be. But then you promote him to warrior. He has the really cool warrior crit. And I don't know, I just have a lot of good memories of using Garcia. And even in like draft races and stuff, Garcia might not be super optimal, but he's never really let me down. He's always been a unit that I enjoy using, and it's probably gonna stay that way. I really like Garcia. Unfortunately, he's gonna get topped, because my favorite unit to use in any Fire Emblem game is Path of Radiance Boyd. Path of Radiance Boyd is the gambling addict's dream. He could become like the strongest unit in your army, and gosh, if you give him like boots and the Night Ring and he turns out really good, Path of Radiance, like I know it's already an easy game, but Boyd can just like completely destroy everything and just turn your brain off. But you're always gonna have to be worried, because his defense and res aren't very good, so it's this constant bet that you're playing with yourself when you use Boyd. Like, is he gonna be okay? But he will reward you. His averages in particular, I notice, are like, they're actually really good. On average, Boyd is supposed to turn out to be like a super good unit, even without BXP. That's another thing I love about Boyd so much. You don't really need to feed him any bonus experience. You can use Boyd and feed more BXP to units that would really want it, like Marcia or Ike or, I don't know, Mess, Rolf, like more meme units. So no matter what kind of playthrough that you're doing, Boyd really will help you out. And if Boyd winds up turning out bad and you don't want to stick with him, you can just drop him. But Boyd, I think, is the perfect character to describe why I like Fire Emblem so much. And nothing is consistent, but you can still plan and make things really, really good. Also, axes are my favorite weapon type. And Boyd, you can even meme with the help of Oscar and Rolf and do triangle attack stuff. It's so funny. gosh, I love Boyd in this game so much. And Nolan isn't terribly far behind, but he is definitely like a big drop down compared to Path of Radiance Boyd. I would not want to play the Dawn Brigade chapters without Nolan. I still think Soth is the most important, but Nolan is like a close second. I would argue that Nolan is more important to making the Dawn Brigade chapters playable than even Jill. Jill is better, but as far as making them enjoyable, Nolan is even more important, especially before you get Soth. He's like the only unit that can reasonably do anything. And then he gets the Tarvos, which is a cool weapon. Unlike Boyd in Radiant Dawn, who we'll get to, he has a personal weapon. I believe it's defense +5. It might be luck. I forget. But either way, you know, if it's defense, it's viable. And if it's luck, it's a meme, and I love it. And he also has the Earth Affinity, which is really good for dodging stuff. That's something that I really love about Nolan. Whoever I build up a support with will probably get a little attack bonus. But mostly, it's the Avoid. That's the cool thing. But I really love Nolan. I just wish he started with a bit more strength. Kind of like Path of Radiance Boyd, how he gets weighed down by stuff. But it's much more... The stat benchmarks in Radiant Dawn are much more of a pain in the butt than they are in Path of Radiance. So that's where I'm going with it. For Boyd in Radiant Dawn, it's so sad because I'm going to have to average this out. If we're talking transfers, he goes like here. If we're not talking transfers, he goes like here. So I think what I'm going to do is that I am going to place him, not there. I'm going to place him like right behind, not Barst, but right behind Ross. Without transfers, he's fun still, and he has all the things I love about Boyd, but he's not fast enough. And I feel like he never gets there. But if he has the speed transfer, those 2 points of speed, all of a sudden, it's like, wow, Boyd is much more reliable and much more consistent and a lot more fun to use. So I'm going to put him there just as like an average, but realistically, you could probably expect Boyd to be like here, probably. But I'm going to put him here just for the sake of argument. Ymir, I've never used. I love Shadow Dragon, but it's only recently that I've enjoyed really killing people to get the guidance. So I've never used Ymir in Shadow Dragon, unfortunately. The day will come, though, for sure. Vaike, I hate this guy. I hate Vaike so much. One of the worst characters in Awakening. His personality just bothers me so much that even if I did like using him in the main game, it's just like, no, go away, please. Basilios, I love his design. I've never used him for gameplay either. When I played Awakening last time I really went through it, I was the kind that didn't like to use pre-promotes, except for like Seth and stuff. Well, I guess Path of Radiance I did, but not really any other game. So that's where we're gonna put him. I've only played Birthright very casually, so I can't say much about Rinkah. The only thing I can really say is that like, when I look at her in-game portrait, I'm like, this design doesn't do it for me. But when I look at her official artwork and stuff like that, or maybe even like her heroes, I'm like, wow, her design is great. So it's like a give and take, but I'll put her below Wade for now. Arthur, for a unit that gets no luck, you would think I would not be okay with him, but I think he's super funny. I love his availability, and like he's got fighter stuff. Unfortunately, he's from a game that I can't stand. So I'm going to have to put him, like, probably above Corrid. Or Borid, whatever. But given he's in the game that I hate, he's fine. I enjoy the gamble of constantly facing crit because the guy just refuses to level up. Charlotte, I kind of feel the same way about. I'm going to put her a bit below because luck shenanigans aren't there. And she's around less. But I feel the same way about Charlotte that I do about Arthur. I think she's pretty funny. And I enjoy using fighters, and I enjoy using axes. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to change that. Charlotte actually like more than Arthur because one of the few things that I find enjoyment out of in Fates is pairing Charlotte with Xander to give him all of that attack. So you won me over there, Charlotte. I don't hate her design, actually, which might be a surprise because I'm very vocal about being ace, so you might think I would hate her design, but I don't know. I think her character fits it well enough, and she gives me a good laugh every now and then. Not as funny as Arthur, but she's fine. So now we get to 3 houses. I only have Hilda and Alois here. Alois joins you as a warrior, and in Cindered Shadows, Hilda is a warrior. So we're gonna start with Hilda. I like her. I'm probably gonna put her like right above Ross. She's very easy to use, I notice. Axes in general are just really good. Weapons do have a perfin, or not a bane, no, a boost. Oh my gosh. I don't remember what they're called, but it's like the good thing. They're good to have the good thing. They're good to have the good thing in because Wyvern uses axes, so that's always nice. You have to focus on flying, of course. But give her axes and she'll do really good. She has a lot of options for what she can be. When I play 3 houses, I like putting her in the warrior path, of course. Big shot. But I like to focus on like axes and stuff. I can make her a brigand. I'll make her a wyvern eventually, but I can make her a brigand for death blow, fighter for strength +2, stuff like that. And she's very fun, and I like Hilda. She's definitely gay for Marianne. That should have been a paired ending. Lastly, oh, this is tough. Alois is tough because personality-wise, he's like top tier for sure. But I barely ever use him for like combat. Like, he's definitely a guard adjutant a lot of the time, but I don't use him very often. He's mostly just like a guard adjutant, which has nothing to do with him being a warrior. So I'm gonna probably, unfortunately, have to put him here. But like, if it was, we were only looking at how fun they were, he'd probably be like here. But Alois is, I love him. I love him. Single brain cell dad. I love him. He's so, I love Alois. But we're gonna end the video there now. Thank you all for your patience. Kirby fans, thank you for being patient with the next video. And Fire Emblem fans, thank you for being patient with the next Fire Emblem video in general, period. I'll try to get more Fire Emblem videos out. I don't know about tier lists. I just really wanted to do this for fighters because I really love this class. But we'll have to see. Hope you enjoyed the music playing in the background. That's Fire Emblem Premium Arrange 2. And if you liked the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell, all that good stuff. I'm not editing this video. I just really wanted to get something out fast. But yeah, I think that's all I got to offer. So I have been Kirbyfan. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video. Bye!